Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to the Moments Podcast. I have been wanting to do this episode for such a long time. Like, I do this thing where I take sticky notes and I write down things that I want to, whether it's a podcast episode or a video I want to make, I'll write it on there and I'll stick it on my window. And when I tell you this episode has been on my window for like 3 months, I'm not exaggerating. But I haven't gotten around to doing it for quite a few reasons. One, I've kind of been on the move. Two, I didn't really know how to talk about it. And three, there were so many things that I wanted to incorporate. And four, some of the things I might tell you in this episode are kind of hard pills to swallow, kind of things that we don't always want to hear. And yeah, we're just going to get into it. The title of this episode is Moments Understanding Your Impact. And it's kind of a combo title. I'm only going to title it that, but I also want to talk about understanding your worth and knowing your value, because it's come to my attention recently that a lot of us don't understand our worth and we don't really recognize how valuable we are, and it's just not good. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to get all the way into it. I guess a quick life update. First thing that's super exciting, I'm going on a podcast on Friday. I've literally never gone on someone else's podcast, which is, I don't know, crazy for me to think, but I just get stressed out. Like, I really overwhelm myself and start freaking myself out. And I've told you guys this before, when it comes to the idea of being on someone else's podcast or having someone come on mine, just because, I don't know, my brain forgets how to work when I'm not just in my zone by myself. But it's something that I'm working with. I'm dancing with fear, like I told you guys in the fear episode, and I'm going to do it. And I'm super excited for it. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it yet, so I'm not going to tell you what podcast it is, but very exciting, very fun. I'm also going to New York City with my mom, my grandma, and my aunt in about a week. And I'm so freaking excited. We're seeing a couple shows on Broadway, and I'm really excited that I get to do that with my grandma, just because since I'm traveling so much and I don't know, life is happening, I haven't been able to see her as much, but we always have the best time when we all hang out. So I'm looking forward to that. Oh, this is the most exciting one. I guess I have more updates than I thought. I didn't really think I had anything new going on. But merch, I hate calling it merch. Moments Collection 2 is coming out on 11/11. If all goes as planned, we are having fingers crossed. Production and all of that crap takes so much time, and there's so many little nitty-gritty details. But I think it's going to happen. I think we're making it happen. I spent all day today finalizing designs and figuring out what's going to go where and what everything is going to be, basically. Sent it over to, production and all of that stuff. So really, really, really pumped up. Mark your calendars, 11/11. I just think 11/11 is the most special date, and I think that's why it's so important for me to drop it on that day. And I've told you guys about this before, but I'm going to tell you about it again because you need to start doing it if you didn't start doing it the first time I told you. You know how everyone says, it's 11/11, make a wish. Well, one day I was with my parents and we were somewhere and I was like, Dad, 11/11, make a wish. He goes, no, instead of making a wish, you should be thankful for something instead. And I was like, oh, shoot, that's a really good idea. Maybe I should do that. I have everything that I already need. I'm going to be thankful for something. I'm going to show some gratitude. So I started taking a Snapchat every time it was 11/11, every time I caught it, and I would put the time on there, and then I just put in the little caption in the text. I would say, today I'm thankful for blah, 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 and just whatever resonated with me that day, I guess. And I started doing it about a year ago now, maybe if not more, and every time, I don't know, I feel like I need to, I just search in my Snapchat memories, I just type in the word thankful, and then I look through all of the things that I've had to be thankful for in the past. And I don't know, it was just a really cool way of noticing 11/11, I guess. I don't know where I'm going with this, but basically 11/11 has a lot of meaning to me, and it's just super cool. Angel numbers, I love all that crap. I'm not even going to get into it. You guys know me well enough to know that I love it, and so excited, working on a new website. We're taking it to the next level. So if you missed Merch Drop 1, Moments Collection 1, I should say, Collection 2 is coming to you so soon, and the theme word of this collection is passion. And I want all of the pieces to be able to inspire you to keep chasing your passion, keep chasing your dreams, and literally never give up on what means the most to you. Because just never give up. Simple as that. Passion, passion, passion. That's the theme. I'll get more into it as we get closer to the launch date, but I'm not going to bore you with it right now. Last update, you guys know how I have been talking about a documentary. If you've been here since day one, I started talking about this documentary probably in the first 2, 3, 4 episodes of this podcast, and I have this huge goal for it. I have this vision of creating a documentary that is going to change people's lives and change the way that they view the world and just help people understand how much beauty there really is and how much there is to be grateful for, and just interview people around the world and make it freaking awesome and incredible. And I kind of kept telling myself, I don't want to do it until I can do it right. I don't want to do it until it can be this big, huge thing that everybody in the world sees. But that's kind of being a hypocrite to myself, because I constantly tell myself and I tell you guys, you can't wait for it to be perfect to just start it. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to try to not be so socially anxious and just start filming a mini documentary series, post on my Instagram, my TikTok, I don't know, my YouTube. I have tons of platforms that I can start sharing this idea. You know, my issue is every time I go to do it, I kind of like freak out and black out, same way that I can't record podcasts with people because my brain turns off. I don't know. We're working on it, but I'm really excited for that. And if you guys, I think I wanted to tell you guys about that, because if you want to send in really cool questions or really unique questions that you think I should ask people that could be just super cool and valuable, please send them to me. I want it to also be, in its own way, a little psychological study, just to, I don't know, figure out some questions that we all have, like what are the true sources of feeling fulfilled and feeling true happiness. And I think that by interviewing people around the world in different parts of the country at different ages, so many of those questions can be answered. So I don't know, I get super pumped about it. I think people are so cool. But I've been boring your ear off for like 7 minutes talking about my life updates. Let's just get into the damn episode, I guess. Bunch of things to go over. I actually made an outline for this episode. Haven't made an outline in who knows how long. We also know that I'm probably not going to go based on this outline at all, because I'm just looking at it right now. I'm like, girl, what were you writing? Nothing on here makes sense and everything's out of order. So we're going to see what happens. The things I want to go over: how being a good person can make the world a better place. Might sound simple, might sound stupid, might sound cliche, but it's true. So we're going to dive deep into that. And then on the other end, how being a shitty person can make the world a shittier place. And with that one, you're probably like the same way, like common sense, obviously. But we're going to dive into it. And then the last thing we're going to talk about, like I said, is just self-worth and understanding self-worth. And I've been on a TED Talk wave the past couple days, so I've been watching tons of TED Talks on just random things, and I've learned so much from them. I also know I've told you guys I'm going to give you my TED Talk list. I need to do that. I just kind of keep adding to it, so I keep waiting to post it, I guess. I don't know. TED Talk list coming soon. Let's just start with the good person cycle. That's what I'm calling it. That's what I'm going to use to describe it. Because in a simple form here, how often have you gone somewhere and someone's done something nice for you, or someone let you merge on the highway, or someone paid for your coffee, and it kind of just changed your entire day, changed your entire mindset, changed your energy, and then you carry that energy and you pass that along to someone else. I know that we've all experienced that before, right? We've all had someone do us a favor and we've wanted to repay the favor. Because when other people make you feel good, you then want to make other people feel good. And in the same way, when you make people feel good, you are going to feel good. And if you don't, I think that that's a very universal thing. Everyone wants to feel good. And we have all these things that happen in life that make us feel like shit sometimes. That's normal. It's gonna happen. But when someone can brighten your day, it can make all of that disappear for just a second. And I've kind of come to the realization that being a good person is so much more than being a good person. Someone's idea of a good person is going to be very different than someone else's idea of a good person. When I say be a good person, I just want you to check in with yourself. On a very deep level, ask yourself, what are you doing that's good and what are you doing that's not good? Like, what are you doing when no one's watching? How are you talking to yourself? How are you thinking about others? These are all such valuable factors that play such a big difference in not only the way that you feel, but the way that you make other people feel. And I kind of wrote this at the bottom of the page, but I'm just going to say it now. When you take care of yourself, and when you are selfish with yourself, and you are good to yourself, and you treat yourself kindly, you are going to become a better person. So for lack of better words, when you are selfish, you become a better and kinder person. Because think about it this way. Imagine you have someone in your life who is your biggest supporter, the person who will always tell you that your dreams are going to be accomplished, that you can do anything, that you are capable of all of it, that you are beautiful, that you are inspiring. If someone was sitting on your shoulder telling you this all of the time, I would imagine that you would have the same desire to do that for someone else, right? It's how the cycle works. What we're given is what we want to give. And that's why a lot of people who are bullies and terrible people come from trauma, because they were given bad. That's such a, not they were given bad, hold on. Hurt people. That's what I'm trying to say right now. The same way that people who are taken care of and people who have been treated properly their whole life are going to be kind in a lot of cases. Point here is, when someone's constantly telling you those things, you're going to want to tell them to other people. But unfortunately in this world, that's not necessarily how it always goes. You know, with social media, with everything, with high school, with college, like, people have crap to say, and not everybody's going to believe in you, and not everybody's always going to support you. But what you can do is be that person for yourself. Be that person who is that person on your shoulder who says you can do it. You are capable. You are deserving. You are valuable. You are beautiful. Be that person for yourself. You don't need someone else to do it. Like I say, every freaking week, you are the only one that you have in this life forever. So make sure that you become your own best friend. So that's just one thing. Like, another thing, I made a list of things that we can do to be better people. And this list, I think, is ongoing. And these are just the things that came to the top of my head. But it's really important to be mindful. And this mindful aspect of it will go into like the opposite side of what I'm talking about. But be aware. Be mindful of what you are telling yourself, what you are saying to other people, what you are thinking about other people. And I know I just kind of touched on this, but mindfulness is something that so many people lack. And it's crazy. I can tell you guys have probably met 10 million thousand people who just have no effing clue, like, that they're even doing anything wrong. Like, a lot of the meanest people I've met in my life don't even seem to think that they're doing anything wrong. Because, I don't know why, but that's what, we don't want to become those people. So we're going to be aware. It is normal to be a shitty person sometimes. If you're having a really bad day and someone just cut you off, I would assume that you're less likely to let someone else in, you know? Like, you're in a bad mood, you're irritable, you don't want to talk to anyone. It's okay to have those moments. What's not okay is to not be aware of them. If you go through those phases and you have those days where you just kind of treat people like crap and you are not a good person, if you don't learn from that, if you don't gain awareness of what you were doing and why you were feeling that way, maybe it's never going to change. And the cycle is just going to continue, but in the negative way. Anyways, I'm getting myself so off track. This week, I have had a really, really hard time staying focused. And you guys know that happens for me every time I record a podcast episode. But I mean, even in a real life standpoint, I just cannot stay focused for the life of me. Moving on. Along with being mindful, along with being aware, just check yourself. Like, check your emotions. I have also had a week of just being super irritable. Not sure why. Probably my hormones. I'm a girl. I don't know what else to expect. It's just kind of how it goes sometimes. But I've been an asshole to my mom, to my friends, to my best friend. Like, and I didn't really recognize it at first, but I kind of reflected and I was like, oh, maybe that was on me. Maybe I didn't need to let my feelings project onto my friends so much. And then you learn from it. And then the next day, if it happens again, you become a little bit more aware and you just try to fix it. Like, all of these things take time. It's a never-ending journey of trying to become a better person, because we're never going to be perfect people. There's no such thing as perfect. In my eyes, perfect is just this illusion. Like, it's like this light I see in the distance that you can never grasp onto, because there's no such thing as perfect. But there is such thing as becoming better and evolving every single day. Next few things I wrote on here are just like, check yourself. Wait, I literally just said that. What? I didn't. Okay. Compliment random strangers. Meditate. Yesterday was having a super crappy day mentally. Don't know why. Again, same reason I was probably irritable and a bitch to everyone that I know. language, sorry. But I decided I needed to do something to fix it because I did not want to go to sleep feeling that way, because if I went to sleep feeling that way, I probably would have woken up feeling the same way. So I was like, I'm going to go sit in the sauna, I'm going to do a meditation, and I'm going to see how I feel. Changed everything for me. I took 20 minutes to go focus on myself, to really connect with my thoughts, separate myself from my thoughts, and just evaluate. So meditation can just be so helpful in separating yourself from what you're feeling. So I recommend that all the time, but it also just makes you feel better, which makes you be better. So I think that's why I have it written on my list. And then another one I have is check in on your friends. I think it is so valuable and so important to be a good friend to people in your life who are a good friend to you. And I think that friendships are really special, like really special. And a lot of times we not necessarily take advantage of them, but we take things for granted. And I take Lisette, for example. Like, this is, I guess, personal, but you guys know all this stuff already. Lisette's my best friend in the world since 2005. I would quite literally not survive, not function without her. And sometimes I forget to, like, check in on her mentally. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes I catch myself and I realize, I'm like, dude, Lisette has been your best friend since 2005. Like, go spend time with her, do things that she wants to do, compromise and make this friendship a valuable one for both of us. I don't know if that made any sense, but moving on. Check in on your friends. Be a good friend. When they give you the little, you're at Publix and your total's $19.97, they're like, would you like to round up 3 cents to Child Health Miracle Network, whatever it might be? Say yes. It's 3 cents. It's 13 cents. Who knows what that could do for someone? You could be one of the cents that helps save some kid's life. Think like that. And obviously, I know money's not something to really play around with. It's not something to mess around with. But I promise you, pennies in your pocket could mean the world to someone else. So, I don't know. I always say round up. Like, it's just one of those things that I've always done. Next one. What's the next one? Smile at strangers. Like, literally just smile at random people. If you go through the drive-thru, make sure you smile and wave and say, have a great day. Little things like that make a huge difference. Even if you feel like crap, if you say, have a great day to someone, and they go, oh, you too, I promise your smile might turn out to be real, and you might end up feeling better. Little things, little changes. Next one is shake it off. Literally, this one's simple. Like, let go of shit. Let go of things that aren't serving you. I can sit and read my DMs and read 90 of them that are just so kind and so thoughtful and make my heart explode of just joy and happiness and like this feeling of fulfillment. It used to take me one negative DM of some random person with no profile picture, no profile at all, like telling me something that they hate about me, like something that I need to change or that I'm ugly or something so surface level. And I will immediately forget of all that positive stuff that I just read. And that's one that I've been working on for a really long time, is just to understand that you have to let the silly things go, because there are so many more people who love you and support you than those who don't. And like we just talked about earlier, hurt people hurt people. And knowing that has just given me the ability to have sympathy for those people and to just put it in the past and to move on with my life, because it should not affect me if user 23870 says that I'm ugly, or that I gained weight, or that they hate my clothes, or that they think I'm stupid, or that I should just shut up. Their opinion should not matter to me. And it doesn't. And this can honestly lead me into the whole self-worth topic. But before I get into that, I'm just quickly going to explain to you, same way I just explained the good person cycle, you have the bad person cycle. You have to learn to let go of all of this negative heaviness that you hold inside of you and that you hold over top of you. Letting go of jealousy and learning to replace your jealousy with inspiration, or learning that if you're too jealous, maybe you need to take distance from what it is that you're so jealous of. Because jealousy in my eyes is like, it's one of the devils. It is horrible. It can weigh so much on you, and it's sad. It's one of those things that we are only jealous of people a lot of times because they have what we don't. But instead of looking at that as a way to inspire you to get yourself to that point, we kind of look at it as like we blame the person. We blame the person for being able to live our dreams instead of allowing the person to inspire us to work towards our dreams. Do you get what I'm saying there? Long story short, work on turning your jealousy into inspiration. Another one that I wrote down on my bad person cycle is releasing anger. And my solutions to releasing anger, 99% of the time, food. If you feed me, I probably won't be so angry. I get really hangry. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you need to try that too. I'm just sharing everything that works for me. And then the other thing that I do when I find myself feeling anger as my heaviest emotion, I have to escape the world. And by escape the world, I mean go for a walk, put on my headphones, full blast, listen to Taylor Swift, and insert myself into a Taylor Swift music video. Or go for a drive in my car, windows down. I make myself the main character when I'm angry because it is the way for me to escape that. Because for me, anger really comes from sadness, but I don't know. Sometimes emotions are weird, and sometimes my sadness just turns into me being really mad at the world. So I escape it. I go read, I walk, I go sit in the sauna, I try to do a meditation, all that stuff. There's tons of negative traits that we could go over, how to get rid of them or how to push past them, but I'm not going to get into all that because there's really no point in diving deep into it. Simply just be aware. And if you do find yourself being negative, being angry, being mean to people, treating people unkindly, just check yourself and check in and start fixing it one day at a time. Just to give you a little bit of a backstory, I was a very different person in high school. Not to say I was a piece of crap. I was never mean to people, but I had this closed-minded mindset that, and this is such a specific example, me and Lisette both, we despise the idea of people being vegan. And now listen, that's going to sound horrible. This was in 2016 and 17. I was young and immature, and it was never I never sat there and was you shouldn't be vegan, that's so stupid. Me and Lisette just didn't understand it, and we would be well, just because one person doesn't eat meat, that doesn't mean it's going to change the world. And something that's shifted in the past however long it's been, so many years of my life, one little thing like that can change the world. And it's really inspiring when people have that mindset. But I don't know, that little situation has just also, now I love vegans and I think the concept is awesome, and I wish that one day I can find the self-discipline to do it because it's so good for the earth. Anyways, I don't think I need to get into all that. I promise I've grown as a human being. But I've been able to look back and reflect. A lot of people are very closed-minded. I was one of them. You could have told me anything back in that year, and I still would not have changed my mind. I was so set in my ways. I just didn't understand. And it wasn't until I really dove deep within myself and opened my mind from the inside out that I started understanding all of these things. And I guess really what I'm trying to say with that is you got to become a better person over time. It's not going to happen overnight. But you have to be willing to open your mind, and you have to be willing to admit that you were wrong. You have to be willing to admit that there is still room for you to grow, and there is still room for you to be better. Because there always is. And I guess this is going to sound kind of not hypocritical, but it's just funny because now I'm going to move into understanding your worth, and I'm going to tell you that you are perfect just the way you are. I don't know. That's just funny to me. I watched a TED Talk. It was called Cultivating Unconditional Self-Worth. And her name was, I wrote it down, but I can't even read my own handwriting, Adia Gooden. I think that's what it is. I think that's what it says. It was a really cool TED Talk on self-worth because she just did a lot of explaining things in a way that made sense to me. She threw in personal stories and explained that she always felt left out or she never felt good enough. And she created this idea that she needed to be perfect for other people, and then that would fill the void in herself. And before I get into some of the other things she talked about and the other takeaways I took from the TED Talk, I posted a TikTok the other day because I had this kind of realization. And I've had this realization before, but I'm going to share it with you now. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, okay? There are going to be people in this world who really don't like you. And honestly, you could change anything and they probably still wouldn't like you. And that's a hard pill for a lot of us to swallow. We want to be liked. So many of us are people pleasers. So many of us just kind of exist to be good enough for other people. And I say that because I've been her. I still am her sometimes. Sometimes I'm just here to feel good enough for people. And that's what I'm constantly working for. But think about it this way. You don't like everyone, right? You can act like you like everyone, but there are people that you don't like. There are politicians that I don't necessarily like. They are not my cup of tea. But it's not personal. It's not deep. It's just that that's not necessarily someone that I would associate myself with. And when you kind of accept that, you can then accept that it's not personal if someone doesn't like me. Okay, I am made for certain people and I'm not made for other, and what am I saying? I'm glitching. You get the point. We are so addicted to being good enough for people that we will change bits and pieces of ourselves for someone else to like us, even if we don't even like them. Now, how does that make any sense? It doesn't. Because when you change so that someone else likes you, you like yourself a little bit less. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. It was just a cool little mindset shift perspective that I had the other day. And it brought me a lot of peace and ease when it comes to thinking about the fact that not everyone likes me. Because who cares? Moving on. I'm just going to kind of like talk through some of the things that I wrote down. And then I'm going to end this episode just because I know I'm starting to ramble. But she talks about how we create this idea that we need to be perfect for others. And then when we do that, we're never perfect for ourselves. Like the void is never going to be full just because of other people approve of you. The void has to be filled from the inside out. You have to understand your own worth and your own value without the opinions of anyone else. And this is so hard because we have quite literally been conditioned since the day we were born that we have to accomplish things. We have to be good at things. We have to make varsity. We have to be in the front row of the dance at cheer practice to be valuable. Our education system teaches us that you have to get a certain score on this exam to be valuable. And if you don't, you're not good enough to get into the college, whatever the case may be. It's something that has been so engraved in our brain that it takes some deep, deep, deep-rooted work to be able to understand that it's not all about that. And that your self-worth has nothing to do with how much you accomplish. And it has everything to do with the fact that you are alive and that the miracle of you even existing is here and it's now, and you are human and you get to live this human experience. I one time looked up the statistics of what are the odds of you being born, and it was really, really crazy numbers. I don't remember them at all. But we have to learn to separate self-esteem and self-worth. Self-esteem can change on any given day. Like me telling you that you need to understand your self-worth unconditionally is not me telling you that you have to love yourself to the fullest extent every single day. There are going to be days you wake up and feel like shit about what you look like, what you feel like. That's okay. That's your self-esteem. Your self-esteem is going to be low when something doesn't go your way, when you fail. That's okay. Like, that's human. You're going to feel emotions when those things happen. But that's not equivalent to your self-worth. Like I just said, your self-worth is a sense that you deserve to be alive. You deserve to take up space. You deserve to just be here. And that's good enough. And you have to train your mind to start believing that and to start accepting that. And it's a hard thing to do. And you have to practice constantly for the rest of your life. It's not going to happen overnight the same way you're not going to become the best person in the world overnight. You have to take the steps. So I'm going to tell you a few of the steps. And she talked about these in the TED Talk, but I'm going to kind of add to them in the way that I feel fit, I guess. You have to forgive yourself. I think that that's number one in understanding your value and your self-worth. Forgive yourself for the past, because the past is in the past and there is really nothing you can do to change it. You can grow from it, but you don't need to live in it. What's the point of living in the past? Let it go. Let it be. Learn from it, grow from it, discipline yourself, but don't punish yourself for the rest of your life because of something that happened in the past. And I could probably do a whole podcast episode on being able to forgive yourself, so maybe one day I will, but Next one we're moving to. Self-acceptance. Way easier said than done. People are constantly telling us what we need to change to be better, what we need to do to be better. And I struggle with this one. I really do struggle with self-acceptance, and I think it's something that I'll probably struggle with forever, especially when it comes to, I guess, surface level self-acceptance. I can be really insecure. Sometimes I can also be confident, but I don't know, we all have our moments. I'm insecure a lot about, like, I don't know, stupid things that no one else notices, basically. And that's on the surface level. I also can get really insecure about the way that I think and about my mindset and how crazy my brain is and how many different wild dreams I have, because there are certain times I find myself surrounded by people who just like rip on me and tear me apart for having these kind of goals and these kind of dreams, and it makes me question everything. But that's one that I've gotten a lot better at just accepting, is like, I am who I am. I am confident in all of these dreams and goals, and just because they don't apply to you or you don't think they're possible, that's not going to stop me, because I accept it. And I love that about myself. And it's been a long journey to get to that point. So I guess this is just me reminding you that self-acceptance is another one of those things that's going to take time, but you just have to slowly work on it. And I'm slowly working through each of my insecurities, and you should too, because I can promise you, they're only insecurities to you, and 99% of the time, people don't even notice the things that you're insecure about, and I bet you a lot of the time, people love the things that you're insecure about, and you just don't know it. I've seen this poem on Instagram a bunch of times. I forget exactly how it goes, but something about how you don't like the way that your face looks when you smile, but it's someone's favorite thing about you, and it just kind of goes on and on and on with all these different things relating to that, and I don't know, it's just a cool way to start thinking. Like, next time I feel like crap about myself, or I'm like, oh, I'm so puffy, I'm just going to think, well, one day I'm going to meet someone who loves when I'm puffy. I don't know. Silly little things like that. That's how we're going to learn to accept ourselves, just the way that we are. And the last one, this is the one that she said, and I kind of touched on this for quite some time a few minutes ago. Be there for you when life gets hard. Be your hype man. Be your supporter. Be the one that believes in you. And you guys have quite honestly heard me say that. Probably, you're probably going to push me off a cliff if you hear me say it again, but I'm going to keep reminding you. You got you for a reason. So be your biggest freaking hype man all day long, all night long, because I don't know what I'm saying. I'm starting to get myself a little distracted. But I want you to ask yourself, if you started to base your worth on the fact that you get to be here and that you get to be a human and you get to be alive right now, you would probably start to chase more of your dreams. You probably wouldn't be so afraid of basing other people's perception of you on your worth. You would just go for it. What would you stop doing if you weren't just doing things to please other people? Probably a lot, right? So I just want you to take that into account. And I also posted on my Instagram story, on the Moments Instagram story, a little box, and it was like, why do you feel unworthy? And it honestly just broke my heart to read some of these responses, but I can promise you that a lot of them had to do with other people. A lot of them had to do with the way that other people made them feel about themselves and about who they are. And we have to stop letting people, I'm trying to think of the word right here. We have to stop letting people create us and start letting ourselves create us. Does that make any sense? People are going to be shitholes. It is gonna happen. It's life. I mean, we're not at a point yet where everyone can just be a good freaking person and a mindful person and an aware person. You're still gonna have a lot of people who aren't nice. But when you can understand that your worth is not based off of that, it's going to change a lot. And this is all way easier said than done. I'm still working on it. You're going to be working on it. We're all working on it. But it's in the little details. It's in the little things. Say your affirmations. Be kind to yourself. All of that. And I guess to just close this out here, be a part of the good person cycle. Don't be a part of the bad person cycle. And I think, honestly, that's all I really got. I just wanted to like go over some of those things, but now that I think about it, I have no idea what I just said for 35 minutes. So I hope that there was at least a couple things that weren't too repetitive and that you were able to take away from this. But I love you guys, and I'm really, really excited for what's to come in the future. And I just wanted to say thank you. I'm actually recording this podcast episode exactly a year after I recorded my first ever episode. I just remember being so nervous to record that episode, and honestly, I still get those nerves sometimes, but we've come so far, and thank you for being here. You guys are seriously my best friends, and I tell you all the time, but I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.